Right, you lot. Buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into the automotive world's finest. Welcome to our countdown of the top 10 cars in the world. We're talking about the automotive pinnacle, the cream of the crop, the kind of cars that make grown adults weep with envy. From luxury to performance, these cars have it all. So sit back, grab a cuppa, and try not to drool on your keyboards as we dissect these mechanical marvels. First up, we've got the Bugatti Chiron. This thing is absolutely mental. It's got a monstrous 16-cylinder engine that produces more horsepower than a small village. We're talking 1,500 of the Queen's finest horses, all working in perfect harmony to propel this beast to a top speed that'll make your face melt. And it's not just about brute force. Oh no, the Chiron is dripping in luxury. You've got leather so soft it makes a baby's bottom jealous. And more technology than NASA headquarters. But let's be honest, you're not buying this car for the infotainment system. You're buying it because it's the closest thing you'll get to owning a fighter jet. Next up, we've got something a bit different, the Tesla Model S. Now, some of you petrol heads might scoff at the idea of an electric car being on this list, but hear me out. This isn't just a car, it's a bloody spaceship on wheels. The Model S will rocket you from 0 to 60 faster than you can say Elon Musk, and it does it all while running silently. Plus, it's got that giant touchscreen that controls everything from the climate control to the suspension. It's basically a giant iPad you can drive. What's not to love? Now, for a bit of Italian flair, we've got the Ferrari LaFerrari. This thing is a hybrid, but not the kind you see your nan driving to the shops. This hybrid system combines a screaming V12 with an electric motor to produce nearly 1,000 horsepower. And the noise? Oh, the noise. It's like the heavens are singing a symphony of internal combustion. But be warned, this car is rarer than a sober Irishman on St. Patrick's Day. Only a handful were ever made. So if you ever see one in the wild, consider yourself lucky. Chapter 4. Lamborghini Aventador, a raging bull. Speaking of things that are loud and Italian, let's talk about the Lamborghini Aventador. This car is basically a spaceship designed by a 12-year-old who only eats pizza and dreams of being a fighter pilot. It's got a naturally aspirated V12 that sounds like the apocalypse is coming, and the looks to match. Driving an Aventador is an experience. It's loud, it's raw, and it's absolutely exhilarating. It's the kind of car that makes you want to grow your hair long, wear a leather jacket and start speaking Italian, even if you don't know a word. Chapter 5, Rolls-Royce Phantom, the epitome of luxury. Now, if you prefer your cars a little more refined, then the Rolls-Royce Phantom is for you. This is the automotive equivalent of a 5-star hotel on wheels. You've got more leather than a herd of cows, wood trim carved by elves, and enough technology to make your head spin. But the real magic of the Phantom is how it makes you feel. It's like you're gliding on a cloud, completely isolated from the outside world. It's the perfect car for being chauffeured around in while you sip champagne and contemplate the meaning of life. Title Porsche 911, a timeless classic. Now, for something a bit more German, the Porsche 911. This car has been around longer than your nan's fruitcake, and it's still one of the best sports cars on the planet. It's got that iconic shape that's instantly recognizable, and a rear-mounted engine that provides handling like nothing else. The 911 is a driver's car. It's precise, it's responsive, and it's just plain fun to drive. It's the kind of car that you can take to the track on Saturday and then drive to work on Monday. But if you want a hypercar that's a bit less analog and a bit more digital, then there's the McLaren P1. This thing is a technological marvel. It's got a hybrid powertrain that combines a twin-turbo V8 with an electric motor to produce an ungodly amount of power. And it looks like it was designed by aliens. It's all swoopy lines and aerodynamic trickery. The P1 is a car that's built for speed, and it's got the performance to back it up. It's the kind of car that makes you want to wear a race suit everywhere you go. Chapter 8, Aston Martin DB11, the Gentleman's Grand Tourer. Now for something a bit more suave, the Aston Martin DB11. This is the kind of car that James Bond would drive if he were a real person. It's got that classic Aston Martin elegance with a long hood, a short rear deck, and a profile that could make a nun weak in the knees. But don't let the good looks fool you. The DB11 is no slouch. It's got a powerful V12 engine that provides plenty of grunt, and it handles like a dream. It's the perfect car for cruising down the French Riviera with a supermodel in the passenger seat. Chapter 9, Mercedes-Benz S-Class Luxury Redefined. Now, if you want a car that's all about luxury and technology, then the Mercedes-Benz S-Class is the one for you. This car is basically a rolling palace. You've got more gadgets than a spy satellite, seats that massage you like a Thai masseuse, and enough legroom in the back to host a yoga retreat. The S-Class is the kind of car that makes you feel like a VIP, even if you're just driving to the shops for a pint of milk. It's the automotive equivalent of a first-class flight, except you don't have to deal with screaming babies or cramped seats. Chapter 10, BMW M5, the ultimate all-rounder. And finally, we come to the BMW M5. This is the car for the person who wants it all. It's got the performance of a sports car, the practicality of a saloon, and the luxury of a much more expensive car. The M5 is powered by a twin-turbo V8 that produces enough power to tow a small country. And it handles like it's on rails, but it's also comfortable enough to drive every day, and it's got plenty of space for your family and your luggage. It's the automotive equivalent of a Swiss Army knife. It can do it all. So there you have it, my definitive, entirely subjective, and probably controversial list of the top 10 cars in the world. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the top 10 cars in the world. Now, I know you lot will have your own opinions, and I'm sure you'll let me know all about them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more amazing content. Until next time, keep your engines revving and your eyes on the road. Cheers!